Hello and welcome to PoliticOly, episode 34, the General Election 2020 Results Analysis live stream. It's November 3rd. My name is Stuart, pronouns he, him, and I'm broadcasting from Olympia, Washington, USA, on the land of the Medicine Creek Treaty Tribes. Today is a historic election for many reasons, but it's not the history we wanted to write. Today should be an absolute disaster for capitalism as we elect Bernie Sanders by a landslide and turn our country forever to the left. But that future was stolen from us. The Biden versus Trump race will have most people's primary attention, and I'm sure there are many better content creators streaming to talk about that, so I'll be focusing here mostly on other races. We'll be looking at Thurston County results for all races, Washington statewide results, local candidates on the left around Washington and the region, and also on several of the furthest left candidates around the country. Bear in mind that today's results will be preliminary. Here on the screen is my channel here, PoliticOly. It's a weekly news and politics talk show. I give you a lot of links to different articles and videos and sometimes firsthand reporting from different events, and though less lately because of COVID, of course, and all kind of things. So I'd love to have you, if you're just tuning in, join the channel, subscribe, and tune in for some local Pacific Northwest content here. So thanks. And if you're tuning in, I appreciate it. If you could drop a like, drop a comment, and join in the discussion. So thank you for watching and welcome. This is a statement on the Washington Secretary of State's webpage about what to expect for results reporting on election night. And just as I was saying, the results that we're going to get tonight are very preliminary, right? They are subject to change in the coming days, and they certainly will. And so we will look at the number of ballots that we have versus how much we expect, and how close those races are, and try to get a sense of which races have a significant lead present in the early results, and which ones are really too close to know. So we'll try to keep that in mind, and you can find more information about that on the Secretary of State's webpage. Oh yeah, I wanted to share a quick post here from Thurston County Elections Office. This is a tweet from a couple hours ago of heavy traffic at the voting center at SPSCC. So that looks, I don't know, obviously it's past 8 now, so that's all cleared out, but looks like a lot of folks came in with some last minute ballots here. And just as a reminder for future elections, you can actually print out paper ballots in Washington State and go put them in your local drop box. So if you find that it's the last second and you lost your ballot, spilled coffee on it, whatever, and you need a replacement, just a heads up there. You don't actually need to go to the office. You can actually print your ballot, which is pretty cool. Pardon? Let's see. So I wanted to start with Thurston County results, and hang on. So the results page you can find in the description of this video below, both local Thurston County and Washington State through the Secretary of State. So here we go. current election information, and there's a lot of information in here. If you want to track your ballot, you want to check on your ballot status, there is still time to correct that ballot now, if you catch it in time. For example, if your signature was mismatched or something like that. So make sure to check your ballot. You can find all kind of information on here. But it is past 8 o'clock now, and we want to see... Oh! Okay, well, yeah, looks like the results are not loaded yet, so... Alright, well, that's okay. They're typically takes a few minutes for them to roll in here, so we will hang on and give that a refresh here in a couple of minutes. And in the meantime, we could maybe check the state results and see what that one says. If you're here watching, thanks for joining. I would love to hear what your opinion in the comments. What race are you watching tonight? What questions do you have? Who's an interesting candidate that I should share on the show, that I should talk about? So go ahead and put that in the comments, and I can respond as we go. Let's see. There we go. Okay, and again, these are initial results. They're not actually certified until November 24th, so that's actually quite a while, but it usually doesn't take that long to narrow the margin down enough to know who's the winner. Usually. It can if it's very close and you're trying to determine if it meets the threshold of a recount or not, something like that. But most of the races are going to be too early to call today, and then going to get clearer over the next few days. Well, let's see. See if there are any results posted statewide yet. %0 in. Well, yeah, as I said, it takes a few minutes here. They say 8 o'clock, but that's all right. And I will use this opportunity, I think, to share a really handy cheat sheet here from what'sontheballot.com, and I'll link this below as well. But they produce these PDF files here that you can print out, and then as you're listening along to the news, you can kind of take a look at each state. If you hear the news talking about the House, you can look down here at how many seats the Dems need to win to flip it, and which ones are Republican-held seats that we're trying to flip, and which ones are Democrat seats we're trying to hold on to, and and so on. So, and there's all kinds of other stuff in there as well: prosecutors, sheriffs, attorney generals, Supreme Courts, and all these bills and initiatives and everything. So there's a ton of stuff on here, and that's pretty handy. And that's created by Daniel Nickanian at Taniel, who also has a lot of good other election information, actually. And if you... Here, let me actually pull it up. They posted a thread of a bunch of resources they had been putting together on Twitter here over time about this election, and it includes that cheat sheet there, and it also includes a thread of important elections about the legal system and mass incarceration all over the country, and there are just a lot of information in there, as well as this one where they've got a a one tweet, 280 character summary of what's at stake in every single state in the country on the ballot. So thought that was interesting. So if you want to look up, another state that you don't know what's going on there politically, other than, what the national news says in terms of their electoral college vote and whatnot, this is kind of a neat thread here. In Washington, Taniel says Governor Inslee's up for election, and 2 Inslee appointed justices. Legislative and Washington 10, that's our district here, runoffs, all Dem, left/center, mandatory sex ed referendum, and an issue in school superintendent race. King County votes on sheriff oversight. Fascinating congressional and legislative battles. So, but anyway, there's a bunch of other ones there too. Well, let's hit refresh and see what we got. All right. So while we're waiting for these to load, it sounds like in the national situation, it's sort of... Actually, you know what? We can just pull it up here. So where are we at? Joe Biden 209, Donald Trump 118. Wow. That's interesting. See anything stand out to me in that map there? Let's take a look at statewide. And it's always important to look at percent reporting here. So Arizona with 73% reporting. Biden's up 56 or 53.6 rather to 45.1. That's pretty solid even with a good quarter of the votes out there, but not completely safe yet. Whereas Florida is 98% reporting. So you hear all the news folks talking about Florida is done, and that's for Trump. So, and you can see the percent reporting shows you that when you look at these results pages. Georgia 67%, Iowa 63%, Michigan only 43%. So that's a good lead for Trump, but see, it's under half of the votes counted there. So let's see. Ohio now 92% reporting, 53 to 45 for Trump. Pennsylvania only 46% reporting. Texas is now up to 74% reporting and has flipped. Biden had an early lead there, but it was just such a low percent reporting still that wasn't significant. So, and but still a quarter of the votes out there. Not trending in the right direction though. Alright, let's see. Thurston County, what do we got? Cross your fingers, everybody. Alright, we got 61.44% voter turnout. That is just so high for initial results. That's awesome. All right, so let's see. Referendum 90. Approved. 60-40. Okay. That's good. That's the sex ed bill that's passing. by a wide margin. Let's see, skipping the advisory votes. Let's see, the Senate Joint Resolution 8212, that was to amend the state constitution to allow the state to invest some money in Wall Street. That is being rejected by a sizable margin. Here's the presidential results. All right. Here we go, everybody. With 61.5% of the vote in, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are beating Donald Trump 61-36 in Washington State. So, yeah. And Green Party with 0.5%. Brutal for the Green Party this year. All right, let's see. Carolyn Long's second attempt at Jamie Herrera Butler's seat looks to have failed by a sizable margin. I don't think she'll be able to make that up. The race between Marilyn Strickland and Beth Dolio is closer. Strickland is up 46-43 with 11% as write-ins. That seems really wacky. What? Oh, right. Okay. So it took me a second there, but right. So Washington State, we have the top two primary system, and so in this race we only had two Democrats facing off. There was no Republican in the race. So the Republican Marty McClendon had the Republicans do write-ins. So that's why you have such an oddly high percentage of write-ins, which is kind of funny. But funny because it's the Republican, not because they're write-ins. So anyway, let's see. But yeah, that one's too close to call at this time. So, unfortunate to see Strickland in the lead there. But yeah, that one's only 3 points, 3.5 points. That's too close to call at this point. Governor, we know Inslee's going to win. It's just a question of how much. He's up 60-40 rather over Culp. So that's solid. He's fine. But that's a lot of people voting for this horrible sheriff dude, Culp. Awful person. So that's sad, but Inslee's definitely winning there. Denny Heck with a commanding victory over Marco Lias. Which is too bad. I voted for Lias, who is the more progressive of the two. But this is not a surprise to me. Heck had a huge fundraising advantage. He had the inside scoop on the National Democrats, DNC, and the corporate fundraising circuit, and the TV circuit and all that. So I expected Heck to be able to win this one. Basically, this is his. He stepped away from the U.S. House to run for lieutenant governor because he sees an opening if Biden wins and then appoints Jay Inslee to something in D.C. That's certainly not guaranteed, I don't think, but it's a real possibility. And if that happened, then the lieutenant governor becomes governor. That would be Denny Heck, and he would just be a shoo-in. So he's just trying to sort of capitalize on the situation as a corporate political opportunist there. So seems to have succeeded there. Thanks to Marco Lias for putting up a strong challenge to his left. But that one's not particularly close. Moving on to Secretary of State. Again, we are only looking at 61% turnout, which is unusually high for initial results, but still just initial results. Folks were bringing those ballots to the ballot box until 8 o'clock on the dot, and so but still ballots coming in the mail in the next couple days. Some states there's been issues, of course, with they don't want to count those, but here in Washington State, all those ballots are getting counted. As long as they got postmarked by Election Day, they will be counted over the coming days. So we'll get updates on that, but 61% is a good number for the initial turnout. So these are, when there's a significant margin here, you can tell who won here. So Gail Tarleton looks to be unsuccessful in her bid to unseat the Republican long-serving Kim Wyman for Secretary of State, which is a little disappointing but unsurprising. Not a very high-profile race, really, even though it gets mentioned because Kim Wyman has been a successful Republican in such a blue state. It gets mentioned, but Kim Wyman and Gail Tarleton both ran pretty low-key campaigns, basically, and so it's unsurprising for an incumbent without major scandals to be overthrown there. Let's see if any of these other ones are interesting. The Democrats have swept most of the other statewide races, notably Chris Reichdahl with a 18-point or so lead over Maya Espinosa. And when you take a look at that, it's similar to the numbers on the sex ed referendum. So turns out Thurston County voters like education. Surprise! Anyway, let's see. Not a lot of choice in some of these LD2 races. Veronica Witcher Rocket was unsuccessful in her attempt at unseating Republican incumbent J.T. Wilcox out in District 2. Let's see. Sam Hunt cruises to re-election, no surprise. Well-connected incumbent who is good on the fundraising circuit without a serious challenger. Same thing here, Lori Dolan versus J.D. Ingram. That's not even hardly notable. Jessica Bateman has crushed Republican opponent Dusty Pierpoint for LD22 position 2. Bateman is a Olympia City Council person, so she is upgrading to State House here. Not the candidate I supported, but certainly glad to see that win there for Bateman over Pierpoint anyway, in the general. As I always say, the real action for the left is in the primary, right? And so when we get down to the general, a lot of these races don't have a leftist candidate anymore, and we just analyze them as they are. So here's one of the ones I was most looking forward to, and whoo, that is excellent. So Carolina Mejia crushing C. Davis 61 to 38.6. That's an even bigger lead than some of the other Democrat versus Republican races locally. So there's no way C. Davis Plover is going to be able to overcome that, even with the additional ballots rolling in. So congratulations to Carolina on that victory. Well deserved. Davis ran just a trash campaign. So finally some good news for Democrats in county commission races. It's been a while. So that is certainly good to see there. I'll note that C. Davis just yesterday posted a photo of a Trump rally truck with Joe Biden, a mannequin of Joe Biden in a truck in a fake electric chair. And he posted that as a candidate. So just, yeah, that's why I say trash. It really was. So anyway, hopefully he stops running for office. Fingers crossed. The Michael Stedman Gary Edwards race is much closer. I would say too close to call, about 4 points difference here, 52-47. And yeah, but Stedman with the lead there, which is another good sign. As I said, the Democrats have had a tough run in the county commission, and were unsuccessful a couple of years ago in attempting to take back the majority with a couple of kind of middle of the road, center left local Dems, and who both lost tight races here. And so to pick up one seat with Carolina, and then if Stedman's lead is able to hold here, I mean, it is like 5,000 votes. But still, again, I would say too close to call. That would be fantastic news. And as I've said, if you've been watching my voters' guides and whatnot this year, I'm not a huge fan of Michael Stedman, but overall, it is going to be great to see the Democrats have a turn of good luck on the county commission, and that could make a huge difference in Thurston County over the next few years. Let's see. Supreme Court Justice Position 3, Raquel Montoya Lewis crushes the opponent. She had my vote and endorsement. Grace Helen Whitener crushes her opponent as well. And let's see, Sharonda Amamilo also crushes her opponent. Okay, so all of the judges that progressives were supporting here won, so that's good news. All right, well, okay, so let's see. What do you think? What do you think? That's the first read, 61.5% voter turnout, so that's a high number for initial results. So unless these are really close, they are probably going to hold. A lot of these races are like 60-40 races, and those are not going to flip. I call the ones that are 4 or 5 points off or less too close to call. If they are like 2 or less points away, then they really are truly too close to call, and we don't know. If they are 4 or 5 points away, it starts to get more unlikely with these numbers of early ballots already cast. So, so those ones could possibly flip, and we have seen races where the numbers have moved 5 or more points from initial results to final results. So even if it seems like a big gap, and it doesn't usually flip, they absolutely can in that range. So what happens with these results is they post the next batch tomorrow, and they will continue to update them every day for the next several days. So I'll continue to take a look at these results over the next few days, and we'll take a look and see if anything changes. Post your comments below what you think about the Thurston County results. Let's see. My takeaway is excellent news for the Democrats in the Thurston County Commission. Let's see. We're going to be watching very closely to see if Beth Dolio can make up the lead against Strickland. That's going to be a tough one, as I was just explaining, but possible. And Would love to see it. What else? Most of the other races, I would say, came out pretty predictably, honestly. So, anyway, post your comments below. And we will follow up on that in further shows this week. Let's see. Oh, I see. Circa before comments. It's so hard to see the screen with results. Can you enlarge and scroll through again? Sorry I didn't see that comment there before moving away. But let's see. Yeah, I don't mind going through the notable numbers one more time really quick with the Thurston County results, so no problem. And thanks for tuning in. And hello to Odin. All right. Let's see. Thurston County numbers. You're right. You know what? Those are zoomed out pretty far, so good call on that. Zoom in a bit, and we will just pull up a few of the notable numbers real quick. 90 was approved, 60-40. Biden over Trump, 61-36, with Hawkins and Walker with the Green Party doing pretty awfully at 0.5%. Carolyn Long, unsuccessful in District 3, not terribly surprisingly, but Beth Dolio down about 3 points, 3.5 points. So that is one, as I was just saying, that is within the margin of error over the next few days as we get more results coming in. This is one that could potentially flip, and this is a big race, right? Because Strickland is a Chamber of Commerce candidate, former Tacoma mayor, a fairly right-wing Democrat. Beth Dolio, a Bernie Sanders endorsed would-be squad member environmentalist. So pretty big difference there, even though they are both fairly, I would say, establishment Democrats. Still a big difference there, and would love to see that one flip, and it is within the margin, so we'll definitely be watching that over the next few days. But Strickland with a not insignificant 3,600 something vote lead. Inslee crushing Culp, 60-40. Denny Heck over Marco Lias, 57-26.5. Again, not surprising with Denny Heck on TV all the time with getting that free advertisement on MSNBC and all that corporate money and whatnot. So, let's see. Other than that, I would say, most of the statewide races are pretty predictable with the Democrats doing fine except for Kim Wyman. And then, again, with the Bateman crushing Dusty Pierpoint, and then Carolina Mejia over C. Davis, 61-38.6, and Stedman, that one is not going to change. Mejia, I will say, is the winner on that one, but the other one is too close, 52-47. Stedman, the Democrat, over Gary Edwards, the Republican who runs as an independent. So that is another one. So I would say going forward over the next week or so, the two races for Thurston County that we're going to be watching for more results coming in that could potentially change a race are this County Commissioner District number 2, which we do not want to flip. We want Stedman to maintain his lead. And then the other one is we do want Beth Dolio to flip that one and take the lead over Strickland. So we will see over the next few days if they are able to do that. So let's take one quick refresher on the national results here before moving on to statewide Washington State. Circa Before says thank you and you're welcome. Thanks for commenting. Let's see. So the Associated Press currently has Biden up over Trump 209 to 118. That is too close to call at this point. So let's refresh the statewide results. This is the Secretary of State's webpage, and you'll find the link in the description below. And you just click on their elections link up at the top. So statewide, well, first of all, let's take a look at the, let's see, where does it say the turnout here? Oh, turnout. There it is. So let's see, maybe I can zoom in on this one too a little bit, but probably not too much. So it says turnout by county here. So most of the counties looks like they are similar to where we are at. Our turnout's at 61.5 again. There's a lot of counties that are pretty similar. Several counties that have not turned in at all yet. Whitman, Klickitat, and Chelan and Adams. Smaller rural counties. And let's take a look at King. King has 72.3%, over 1 million votes in already. So a lot of ballots in already, but certainly not all of them. So let's take a look at statewide executive races. Jay Inslee with same kind of lead we saw in Thurston County, about 60-40. Denny Heck with a, interesting. So it looks like, so Heck statewide is leading Marco only 47-34. So that's I mean, it's still a significant lead, and Marco's not going to be able to make that up with ballots coming in, but that is closer than in Thurston County. So Denny Heck being from here, he has really high name recognition rather, compared to Marco, so that's not too surprising. Marco did a little better statewide than in Thurston against Denny, but not good enough. And also entertaining is the Republican write-in, Marty McClendon. Looks like he got about 19% of the vote as a write-in, which is pretty significant, actually. But top two, oof. All right, let's see. What else do we got here? The Kim Wyman-Gail Tarleton race is actually a lot closer statewide than in Thurston County as well. Wyman over Tarleton, 51.6 to 48.3 there. And I would say that's too close to call statewide. So that's interesting, because in Thurston, Kim Wyman, that lead looked insurmountable, but statewide, that is too close to call, though, you know, it's still over 100,000 votes to make up. So Wyman is still pulling ahead statewide, but too close to call. Let's see, I'm going to move through most of these other ones because the Democrat just wins, and move on to the measures. Let's see, Ref 90 statewide, 60-40, about the same as in Thurston County. That's good news. 82-12 rejected. Not as big of a deal, but that is how I voted as well. Let's see. So, yeah, we kind of already saw the LD22 ones. Let's see. Federal. So, when we go outside of Thurston County to all of Congressional District 10, suddenly Beth Dolio is not looking so good. That lead by Marilyn Strickland there does look insurmountable. So, yeah, it does look like Strickland has pulled it out. That's unfortunate, but not terribly surprising. Denny Heck held the seat for a long time with the same sort of political profile and approach as Strickland. So I'm not a big fan, but yeah. So 50-36 Strickland over Dolio, and we can go ahead and call that one. That's too big of a gap. Well, let's see. Supreme Court, Raquel Montoya Lewis winning 60-40, same as in Thurston. Whitener 68-32. So no surprises there. All right. So I would say overall, the only real surprise, and it's not even too big of a surprise, but the only significant takeaway I have reading through the initial results statewide is that Strickland's campaign came out ahead pretty significantly across CD10 here. And as progressives, we have a long way to go to win here in this congressional district. It was really gerrymandered to help Denny Heck and the Democratic establishment. Even though Bernie, crushed it here, 73-27 or whatever the last time, and then, whatever this time, the progressive movement here is really disjointed in terms of cohesive organizing that can win these big district-wide elections. So even though we have a big progressive base here, the Democratic establishment is very strong and has flexed this muscle here in CD10 and in the lieutenant governor's race, where Denny Heck's TV appearances and big money connections have allowed him to muscle Marco Lias out of the way there and maintain his trajectory toward greater offices in the future. So, let's see. What else do I want to talk about? Now, we can look around the country, or, actually, of course, before we do that, we need to just look around Washington State. So let's see if we can just search this way. Let's see how some of the other progressive candidates around Washington did. Let's see, we can search for candidates here. Wait, no. So let's see. Let's see if we can figure out how Sheree LaSalle did. So that is against Frank Chop, who looks to be winning by about 50-31. So a decisive victory there for Chop. However, a very strong finish for a People's Party candidate. So congratulations to Sheree on an excellent campaign. Really, really pushing the conversation to the left in a major way. And if you're not familiar yet, go look up some of their interviews and things like that. Comrade Sheree LaSalle there with a strong 31.1. Let's see, who else do we need to look up statewide? Mariana Everson down in the 19th district. We need to see how, got to see how Mariana did. Mariana is an awesome DSA endorsed nurse running in a very rural, tough Republican district. All right, well, wait, that's the wrong, I clicked on the wrong link. All right, there we go. I don't know why the primary was on top of the general there. All right, so Mariana Everson was not able to pull that out there over Jim Walsh, the Republican. Not terribly surprising again, but a very strong showing there by Mariana. And again, a rural campaign, working class, bringing left-wing progressive ideas out to some of the more right-wing rural areas of the state. And major appreciation for that to Mariana, and thanks for her work running, and I hope she runs again. I think this was her first time, if I'm not mistaken. So a very strong 42.18% there. Just initial results, but that one is too big of a gap there, and is far enough to call there. Let's see. Cori Bush won in Missouri, so that's +1 to the squad there. Let's see. Let's look up some of the Green and other candidates around the country. And see how they did. So, Franca Muller-Paz, Green Party, Baltimore City Council. That doesn't have the... I'm looking at the wrong page here. It's not the right page either. Let's see. Well, here's an article about the race, so let's see if we've got an update here from Fox News Baltimore here. Close race. Franca Muller-Paz is within striking distance of incumbent councilman Robert Stokes Sr. Muller currently holds 36.5% of the vote, trailing Stokes Sr. 59.4%. Well, I mean, that's, I don't know if I'd call that striking distance, to be honest, with apologies to Franca, who ran a fabulous campaign, with endorsements of DSA, union support, and as I said, Green Party. So unfortunate results there. Let's see. There's Jake Tonkel in San Jose. Let's see if we can find some results there. So it looks like Jake Tonkel is down by 6 points, with only 45% of the vote in. So a tough gap to make up, but a very strong showing there. Let's see. How about J. Ting Walker in a Green from that I'm familiar with from Twitter who ran in Pennsylvania. Let's see. Does it have the information here? gpelections.org is somewhere you can go to find information about Green Party elections. Oh yeah, and they've got the updated results here today. That's cool. So, with 11.6% of the vote. Always love to see more Greens running across the country, though. Let's look at a more high-profile Green Party candidate, Lisa Savage. 53% reporting. Not called yet. Lisa Savage with around 5%. Susan Collins looks to be running away with that one, even with Lisa's votes. The majority of them will be added onto Sarah Gideon's because of instant runoff voting in Maine. But it's only 54% reporting, so that's still early. But yeah, if Lisa Savage can hit around 5%, that is a very respectable result for running for U.S. Senate as a Green. Let's see, who else do we got here? There is Angelica Duenas, who, let's look at a couple of candidates who were endorsed by the Rose Caucus. Looks like Angelica Duenas is down pretty significantly there, but only 45% reporting. So yeah, California just doesn't have as high a percent reporting, so those results are just more preliminary. But that was a big gap, so unlikely to be flipped. But let's look at another candidate endorsed by the Rose Caucus, Hillary Turner in West Virginia. Losing that one to Carol Miller of the Republican Party. 100% reporting, so that one's over. Hillary Turner has lost. Let's see. I don't think I will go too deep into looking up too many more national candidates because, as I've said before, there's just so many other content creators doing national coverage. So I really wanted to focus on local and state and just maybe look up a few of the national races. But we'll take a look more about all those races and the presidential as well in upcoming PoliticOly episodes. So if you tuned into this, I really appreciate it, and make sure you subscribe and tune in for more analysis of the results as they come in and these elections as they finalize. For my recommendations for if you want to look up other folks to watch on YouTube to get some good leftist perspective on the national elections that I wasn't covering too much here. You can look at Majority Report, Benjamin Dixon Show, The Real News Network I highly recommend. National Native News has some important perspectives as well. Jacobin was live streaming. Howie Hawkins did a live stream with a lot of awesome guests. And Katie Halper was live with Matt Taibbi and some other guests as well. There's a Washington State channel called Uphill Media, and they have a show called Daily Dive, and they were live doing some coverage as well. So I'll be watching that one to see about their takes on the statewide elections as well. And if any of these links are not yet down in the description below, I'll add them later. So see if I had anything else I wanted to share with you tonight. I don't think so. So, yeah, I guess that wraps it up for now. And appreciate everyone tuning in and for any likes, subscribes, shares. Love to hear your comments, your reactions, and let me know what you think. If you would like to send in a written comment or video or audio comment I could play on the show, anything like that, you can email politicoly@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter for show updates at OlyPolitic, and my main is at Oly Stuart. And yeah, thanks everyone, and have a good night. Love.